All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Whether you're joining us from LinkedIn or YouTube, thank you for being a part of our final session in the Women in the SEO series. My name is Lakshmi, and I'll be a moderator today. I'm thrilled to have a phenomenal plan to wrap up the series. We did the third session last Friday, and over the last few sessions, we've explored everything from personal branding to career pivots. And tonight, we are closing with our most ambitious topic yet. The theme for today is scaling SEO expertise beyond borders. Especially in a world where AI is shifting the goalposts and the market is more global than ever, how do we grow our impact without losing our sanity? So today I'm joined by Jaclyn. Jaclyn joins us from Seattle. As the owner of Jaclyn Hope Design, she's a powerhouse entrepreneur running her own web business, offering specialized SEO services and brand development. Jaclyn, would you like to say hello to the audience?
Hi, just happy to be here and excited to chat.
Thank you. Um, Don, is a founder of Brassbulb Digital, which is an SEO and search visibility strategy consultancy, helping ambitious brands turn search into growth engine for the AI area. Very much needed. Don joins us from New Jersey. Don, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm very excited to be here and have this conversation.
Glad you could join us. Finally, we have Stephanie. Stephanie joins us from Scottsdale. She's a founder of the aptly named Mrs. SEO and Junction Jack. Junction Jack is a vetted marketplace for SEO experts designed to help small business owners and founders find trusted, pre vetted consultants for everything from one time audits to ongoing work. Stephanie, in fact, before I joined the session, I was just looking at Junction Jack's website, and I must say, in a world where everyone claims to be an SEO expert, having a veteran practitioner like you certainly makes it authentic and more easier for businesses to hire that really does not understand what SEO is or who is a real practitioner, right? So yeah. Would you like to say hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to piggyback off that, it's not a full job. Like people are not looking for jobs. It's just project based. So it's a great place, and it's been vetted by me through my community, and so I'm just really excited that it's finally got live after 2 years. And there's always ongoing things to do, but
Yeah.
I've been working on it for a long time.
No, the website is beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
And especially the FAQ section. So if there are SEO practitioners watching us live today, or even if you catch a recording of this later on and you're looking for projects, so please go check out Junction Jack. One thing that sets apart the panel today is that all three of you bring a founder's perspective, which makes it very special, right? Because all of you walk the talk, you breathe SEO, and that's very different from being an in-house SEO expert because you bring in the business as well. And that is very hard in today's times because the market is flooded with freelance SEO practitioners, right? Finally, welcome to the audience. We've seen regulars from all over the world join our series. So for the final session, I'd like you to drop your location in the comments just to see what the global reach of our scaling audience is. All right, so let's start. Jaclyn, I'd like to begin with you. Right. So when you hear scaling your SEO practice, what does that actually mean to you? Is it more clients, bigger clients, or something else entirely?
Oh, that's a really hard question because I think I'm kind of in the thick of it right now of growing the business, and the business is growing really fast. And I think probably it's a bit of both. So it's like being more intentional about what I'm offering, being more intentional about what I'm charging, what I'm delivering, how I'm helping clients. But then it's also making sure that I have enough leads, monthly retainers, like the more logistical stuff where I have like the traffic coming in, and then being really about my output as well. and finding that balance. Our team is growing. We're a team of 5 right now. We'll probably be a team of 6 or 7 by summer. And so just making like really smart choices of how I structure things and how I decide to scale has been on the forefront of my mind.
Okay, that's very interesting. You mentioned retainer, so a project that spans, 3 or 4 months is much more easier to retain because you're not constantly on the lookout for new business every month. So your energy is also focused on having fewer clients, preferably big ticket sizes, rather than constantly being under the pressure of, bringing in more business. Is it the same way for you, Dawn, as well, or is it different?
I think there's some overlap. I definitely like getting retainers in and longer contracts, but sometimes also starting with a short sprint to sort of build that relationship and build that foundation and use that as a building block for a larger scope or a longer engagement moving forward. I think that's a nice, more scalable way of, not scalable, a more practical, or not practical, a way of scaling without burning out, because you have the foundation already set and you're just building on top of what you already have rather than constantly seeking out new opportunities.
Makes sense because not every client, it's always good to test out the waters for a brief period, before deciding on a longer term because not every client would be the right fit for you as well, right? I mean, makes sense. How do you approach this, Stephanie?
I'm totally different. I only do retainers, and I never make anyone sign a contract a month to month because I don't like contracts myself. But once they see you do the work, I've never seen anyone stop after a month. Plus, SEO is a long game. You're not going to see anything after a month either. I cannot scale Mrs. SEO because I'm not going to hire people. I'm just not a boss. Like, I know that about myself. So that's why I started Junction Jack. And I use all contractors to help me with that. So that's where, so I have my, Mrs. SEO is my bread and butter. And then Junction Jack is hopefully going to be my bread and butter. But that's the marketplace that I feel like I can scale there versus my business here.
Yeah.
Different perspectives. But what I loved about this is knowing your personal strengths and leveraging on that, right? Where one of you goes after a lot of them because you have the strengths to, manage a lot of people. Whereas Stephanie, you're leveraging on your own strength, strength of, utilizing your capabilities and then building the marketplace and then outsourcing that. Great. Different perspectives. All right. But Stephanie, that also gets me curious, right? At what point did you realize that your current way of working is the way to go? I mean, something that doesn't necessarily require fundamentally changing the way you operate, and there is still an opportunity to grow because, like you mentioned, Mrs. SEO is all about you, right? So that just got me thinking.
I mean, over the years, I've been running it for like 7, 8. So I've been SEO for about 15 years, and I've been running Mrs. SEO 7, 8 years. Everyone is like, you need to hire, you need to outsource, do this. And I am a total type A personality and just can't. I'm just not a boss. I've been a boss and I'm not a good one because I expect people to do their work. And if they don't, who's at the end of the day, who's responsible? The owner. So I realized I need to retire someday and I don't have retirement.
We all do. Yes.
So it's been like in the back of my mind, how can I scale? And I see so many bad actors in the industry and so much bad advice. And I just really want to combat that with this.
I'm hitting that hard this week with my clients. So I might preach.
Yeah. And again, all these people are years of expertise that I have vetted or I know on the platform. So I'm fully comfortable with them. These are not entry-level people. And I don't mean to say you can't be entry-level SEO, but with everything that's going on, you really need somebody that knows what's going on in the AI, AEO landscape. So if you want to get into SEO, I would recommend working under someone else. I would also not hire somebody that's brand new. I think they'll get overwhelmed. So that all being said, if you just are looking for project based, all these people on the platform are like me, have their own agency, and so just looking for one-off, maybe a few projects, but just to help with keyword research or audit, whatever you're looking for. But that's how I hope to scale. But we'll see.
Great.
That's a lot harder because it's not just me.
Jaclyn, since you pitched in between, is there something that you'd like to add to this?
Oh, I resonate with what she's saying a lot. I think a lot of us with growing businesses have been in that seat of, okay, what do I want to do? And some people just want to kind of be solo and just get help when they need, and they are looking at their offers and they're trying to figure out like, how do I take this? What's the pathway? So Stephanie's like so smart for thinking of like another path, another opportunity to like build out that side of the business. And then, other people kind of take the path like I did, where I was like, oh crap, now I have to hire a whole team of people because I have too many jobs. So it's like, but the burnout and the stress that I am feeling this month is kind of intense. So I totally get like not wanting to go that way and just doing whatever works best for the business owner.
Yeah. Does that also stress you out because you have, let's say, visibility of 3 months down the line? But if, let's say, work dries up after 2 months or 3 months because you have all of these people on your rolls, so I'm guessing that would add up to the pressure as well.
Yeah, there's pressure because like I'm paying their bills.
Yes,
so
yes.
I have to have the money to pay their bills.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I keep having that kind of in the back of my mind. Luckily, it hasn't been a thing yet. I've just been growing month over month for like 3 years in a row. So
that's phenomenal.
Luckily, I've been able to sustain it, but it is a little scary.
Yes. Yeah. It also speaks about the kind of work you do and the quality of work you do. That work hasn't dried up. So that's a good thing. Then what do you think about it? I've gone through your profile, right? So you've done you've been in-house and then you branched away from all of that and then now you've gone on your own. So why this path? From a steady state to, being associated with a name to going on your own?
There are a lot of reasons. I think part of it is the flexibility and the autonomy, and flexibility not necessarily in hours, because I'm definitely putting in more hours than I have in
Absolutely.
But getting to choose the priorities that I really stand behind, as long as they're obviously aligned with my clients, and getting to really lean into my point of view and share that. Also building a lot of different strong relationships. I found that in-house, it's slightly limiting. You've got probably, if you might have another SEO or a team of SEOs, and then there's the marketing team or the content team. And then outside of that, you're kind of you can be kind of adrift. I actually find it easier to break down the silos now that I am a freelancer. And easier to sort of find the folks that I can make the most impact by connecting with. And part of it is making more of an impact. I feel like my work is doing more now because there's less red tape.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That pretty much answers it, right?
I want to add to that actually, because I think it's something a lot of founders don't talk about, but I'll talk about it. I'm fine with it. You have to fire clients too, and you are that person that is it, right? When I come from a large agency background, and I obviously never had to fire a client when I was there, but you have to fire clients sometimes, and it's scary. And I remember the first time I did it, I probably wrote the email 15 times and then finally sent it. But, I think that's scary too, is when you have to fire them, because it's your income, right? It's your, Jaclyn has a team. For me, it's just me, but it's still my income, and I have to decide, is it my mental health or do I let that go? So that's a really, for me, it's a really hard thing. I've had to do it a few times, but I think that we just don't talk about that type of, that's the hard part too. You're
Yes.
everything. You're the
Yeah.
accountant too. When people aren't
Yeah.
paying you,
Yeah.
you got to bother them. And that's, at first I was so scared to ask people,
Yeah.
you owe me. And now I'm like, it's, you actually owe me now.
It's nice having the choice, though.
Well,
Obviously, it's horrible to have to break up with a client, but it's nice to be able to look at a relationship that's not working, or something like that, and be able to take action on that and say, I think we would both be in a better position if we adjusted the way we work together.
I
Yeah, and
appreciate
usually
both of you bringing this up actually, because not a lot of people would have the courage to speak about it openly, firing clients or a lot of red tape that's involved. Because when you're working in house, you're bearing the brunt of all that's being passed on. Because if the agency does not have the courage to let go of a client, and you as an employee is bearing the brunt of it, then yeah, it does take a toll. But Dom, that's one thing that I'm curious about. So, is there a version of scaling that doesn't require burning out at first, especially when you made this transition, right? The first few months. How did you actually go about scaling? Because I think that's the difficult part, right? If I were to ask that question to Jaclyn and Stephanie, they've been at it for some time now, a few years, right? But you've recently branched out. So, how
Yeah.
did you go about it?
I think I was just incredibly fortunate to have a very strong network, and I just had people reach out, which is, I feel like, is not the most helpful thing for anyone who's trying to do this. Well, I guess really leaning into your network and keeping connections and staying in touch with people and being other people's cheerleader, I think, is sort of an underrated, not even skill, just something that was kind of great for everyone, building that community. And I really felt it sort of come back around and fill my bucket, so to speak, when I went freelance. So much so that I was not ready. So I was sort of building the ship as it was taking off, as far as processes and deciding, oh, right now I do need to get a tracking platform, or I do need an invoicing platform, and trying to make those decisions on the fly. I definitely would have done more research earlier. It just really wasn't. I was like, it'll build slowly, and over time things will it'll work out. But yeah, the ramp up was just much more extreme than I thought it was going to be.
And I think in retrospect, you would think that was a good problem to have, right? Not having decided, not having the research of an invoice platform is probably a nicer problem to have than not having enough clients. So yeah,
Definitely not trying to.
yeah. I think this should serve as encouragement for anybody in the audience, watching, and then if you find yourself in a place where you don't want to work in house and want to start off on your own, then Dawn's story should serve as encouragement. Stephanie, how do you position Mrs. SEO? I mean, whenever you think about entering a market that already has established local players, do you do work today that extends beyond the US?
Yes, I do. I have some clients in Canada and Europe.
All right. Okay.
I have to say, I just want to kind of go piggyback off Dawn. I actually don't reach out to clients. I had been planning to quit my job. So I was already fortunate. I've been saving, and I got laid off in COVID. I knew it was coming and I was going to quit. So I had already had like an extensive network and people that I was freelancing as well as full time. So I don't need to go. I'm very big into networking. I will network all day, every day. I actually set aside an hour every day to get on LinkedIn, to network, or to have a call, like something networking. So for me, it's all about networking. I think I want to come back to, there's a lot of bad actors in the space, and I have a lot of people that I have to like talk down from a ledge. Somebody asked me, why would I have you do SEO when AI can do it? And I said, what data do you have that AI can do it? Like, I don't know if that was rude, but I was like, who's behind AI? There's a human, right? So I think that like for me, it's a lot of education and then referrals. That's how I get clients really all over. So I don't do any outreach specifically.
Okay. So when you set
I don't know if
aside,
that's
let's say,
helpful.
an hour for LinkedIn, which is a great tip, right? For anybody to build a personal brand, be intentional about it on a daily basis to build your network so that you can start off on your own, right? But then um, when you say you don't do specific outreach, what exactly do you mean? I mean, as in cold email or
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
okay,
I don't. I tried. So I used to run Google Ads at one of my. I did Google Ads. All my leads that I got were not qualified. So for
okay,
me, so I did in the beginning try about 7 years ago. It was not qualified. I'm not good at email. I'm literally the only thing I'm good at is SEO. I'm not good at email marketing. I think my emails were crap. I didn't do a good job. I'm not great at social media. I mean, except for LinkedIn. Like I try and do thought leadership. Like I literally don't know anything about SEO. So that's
okay.
probably why I fell flat on outreach. So it's really just all my referral network at this point.
Okay.
And being
Great.
that thought leader. So, posting on LinkedIn, maybe other social media channels. I don't know. I don't have time for that, but I just post thought leadership pieces. And it doesn't only have to be SEO. I talk a lot about entrepreneurship, like just talking about firing clients. Like I think I try and talk about things we don't talk about. I'm now a bookkeeper. Like I'm a pretty good bookkeeper because I don't have a bookkeeper, right? Like you wear a lot of hats. So I try and also bring that into like what I talk about as a thought leader. So
I'm on the same boat. I've never run an ad or anything. It's all
Okay.
just networking and referrals and partnerships and community.
Okay. So is it all online networking, or do you also participate in offline events? How do you go about building the network that you have today?
Mine's like 50-50, like online and offline. So I'm pretty well known in the community now as like the web girl.
Okay.
So like in Seattle, I get a lot of referrals from past clients I've done. I do like the Chamber of Commerce, the different kind of just networking type groups in the area. And then the other half is just through online. So I'm just getting to know other entrepreneurs, other women in business, and building relationships with them.
Awesome. We have a question from the audience. How tough was it as women entrepreneur to start, especially in the SEO industry? Who wants to go first?
it's tough. It's a man's world, right? It's very tough. I've never worked with a woman at any agency I've worked with. It's all been men.
Oh.
Oh,
So I just, from my perspective, I feel like women are not as valued for SEO. That's all I'm saying. I'm from Seattle, lived my whole life there almost. So I'm SEO and tech, like tech
The
companies
tech
is
dude
all.
bros.
Yeah. So it was very
Mhm.
hard. I've had people say, why would I hire a woman? Like
Mhm.
really?
oh, absolutely. 100%. I am totally that person that I was not a candidate because I was a woman. So it
Very
was,
surprised. I'm honestly shocked. Okay.
yeah.
For me, it's like it's subtle. It's
Mm-hmm.
subtle, but like once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like I'll give the best pitch of my life, the best audit. I'll break down all the technical errors, the whole game plan, what we're gonna do, and then I get a response of like, "Cool, sounds good, but we're just gonna run it by Steven first. He's our IT guy that we hired 10 years ago, and we'll just ask him if what you're saying is right."
Mhm.
And I'm like, cool, Steven has never done a thing in the SEO world ever in his life. But because he's a man and they know him, he's automatically at like a higher tier than me in my expertise. So I do run into that a lot. I find like working with other women, though, like other female business owners, I kind of get to cut through some of that. So I do kind of keep an eye out for those opportunities more.
Yeah, I will say it's less now because I am really in that, but
Yeah.
for probably 10 years of my career.
Yeah.
it was.
I find
Have you had the same experience, Tom?
not so blatant, but
Okay.
for me, and I think this is also just partly my personality, is more of a presence thing. So the executive presence comes up, which I think is really based on a cis white male stature. And if you don't really embody or replicate that kind of presence or way of being, it can be seen as sort of like you don't know as much, or you're less of an expert, or people that kind of question your authority, even though the numbers can back everything up. I think it's.
I'm pretty combative too. Like, I don't think they like that.
Stephanie's like, I'm ready. I'll go.
I was like, I don't think that either of you really maybe have this problem, but yeah.
No, I get what you mean, though. I get what you
I
mean.
understand
Like,
as well.
yeah, like the perception of who is a leader, who is an authority, when you're a woman, or even more like of an introverted woman or a more neurodivergent woman, or however you present yourself differently, that's not fitting that mold. It's like, well, then she's less credible, even though that's not true.
Yeah, I was discussing some of the feedback that I've gotten over the years from in-house teams and clients, and I was talking to my husband about it, and he said, "Oh wow, it must be really hard to be a woman." And I was like, "Wow."
It is, yeah. But while you were not talking about it, I'm just curious. Does this have any bit to do with women in general are perceived to be less what do you call proficient in coding, or the technical aspects that they perhaps think that you're not qualified to be a SEO professional or something like that?
Oh,
Where
they're
does it
shocked.
stem from, or is it just gender bias?
Oh, like they're shocked I can code. Like I and I'm not even the greatest coder, but they're still shocked. We do like web design too, and they're just really
Right. Yeah.
confused. They're like, so you're good at like just making things pretty, but like you actually understand like how this stuff works? I'm like, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel the same too, Stephanie? I mean, it does not stem from the fact that they're doubting the technical capabilities to, associating SEO as just something that is content and visual, and probably, we don't have the skills or expertise to really understand, get into the trenches of it and understand as to how it works, what it takes for, certain things to rank or show up on SERPs, or even be cited by others?
I mean, I know how to code a little bit because at my first agency job, I had to go in and like add the code for the title tags. That wasn't like a thing you could highlight, as you can now in a lot of CMSs. I think it's more, I can specifically think of a job. The person that they hired didn't know SEO very well. And I think it's like that comfort blanket. I would say it, and then they'd look to the guy and he'd be like, yeah, I agree with Stephanie. They'd be like, oh, that's okay. That's good. Yep. We got that. That's a good idea. So I was for me, I because I don't know if it's Seattle and the tech, maybe this is San Francisco too, because the tech, very blatant. Like that's why I want to also say on my marketplace, I really want to prop women up. There's tons of women in SEO. We're just not given the chance. So this is like a big reason why I want to do it as well. Of course, there's some men on my platform who are wonderful. I'm not saying this is all men, but I just don't think we're given a chance.
Fair. All right. So Jaclyn, tell me about one process or system that you have put in place that has made the biggest difference when scaling your business. Because you also talked about, how you're always, you believe in the process of a lot of inbounds, keeping the stream of inbounds continuing to come, right? So now that you're growing your team as well, so I'm guessing there is a lot more processes that you probably have in place today.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the back end that I've improved just even recently, like over the past 6 months as my team has grown. I'm used to just keeping everything in my head always. Every client. I can keep like 50 clients up here. I know exactly what their analytics look like. I know exactly the needs of their website. I know their goals. I know everything. And I keep it up here. And so a lot of that is just getting it out of my head and into the hands of my team and trusting them. So, implementing tools that kind of, streamline us and make us more efficient. So we're in Slack, we're in Notion, we're doing all of these things to make it more of an established process of what getting a client, onboarding a client, working with a client, offboarding them looks like. And I'm still working on it. I'm still improving it and using my resources and my network to gain advice as well. Because I think it can be very isolating when you own a business and you're just kind of winging it and you're like, I think this is right. And reaching out to those other women that I admire and I look up to and being like, okay, how do I streamline this? How do I be better? And kind of leaning on them for help too.
Even if you're a one-person business, Stephanie and Don, I still think that's where you need more systems in place because you're managing everything on your own, right? So you need to have those blocks of time and those specific, blocks and specific tools that you rely on, saying that this is when I'm going to do this. This is when I'm going to do this. So do you go about your day that way, or do you operate differently?
No, I have no tools but SEMrush. It's all in my head.
Wow.
I get it.
Okay. That's amazing. How about you, Dawn?
I've started setting up ClickUp. Just ClickUp is really just, project managing and documenting things. So also if I do decide to outsource, I don't have to go and regurgitate everything.
Right.
Like at the 9th hour, I can say it's already right here. Here you go.
All right. So is AI impacting anything that you're doing in terms of the business that's incoming? Is it making easier? Is it making or just shifting where the hard work is? How are you, what I specifically want to ask is, has it made your jobs easier, right, in what you execute? But at the same time,
AI
has
like
it
as a tool.
finding work difficult?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You mean like AI like as a tool, like as a system
Yes,
for us?
as a tool in the work that you do.
I guess I can go. We don't use it very often. I think AI still needs a lot more time. It's not a great tool yet. It's got a lot of flaws, a lot of gaps.
Okay.
Sometimes we do use various like AI tools just kind of as like a backup, like a sounding board of like here's list of keywords we're monitoring. Is there a couple more like high traffic keywords we might be missing? And kind of bouncing a few ideas off of different tools to find those gaps. But other than that, it's not really affecting my day-to-day too much because it's just not there yet.
Okay.
I would
Is it
echo
specifically with respect to content creation, or are there specific areas, or in general, you don't find it useful yet?
So I stand on a really strong pillar of my business of honesty and transparency with my clients, and that's kind of why they hire me.
Okay.
So I don't use it for content creation. I don't use it for image creation. I don't use it for anything like that because it's a lie. It's fake.
Right.
So it's just not how I want to run my business. Maybe in a few years when these become more and more advanced, it'll be more useful to me. But right now, it's pretty minimal.
Okay. How about you, Stephanie?
I mean, excuse me, I would agree. I have some technical clients, so I'll have to ask it like, is this accurate? And then I want to see links. Like I want like solid sided links, government, nonprofit. I noticed, and I've written about this on LinkedIn, you really need to verify your sources. A lot of the links are broken on there. So to Jaclyn's point, I'm finding a lot of broken links on AI. Also, my background, I want to be a journalism major. I'm a writer, so I write content for my clients. So it's very hard for me when I see what I know is AI written content, especially when people have the lines in between the content and
the dividers.
I'm like,
the extra spaces. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So
on the M dashes, which is everyone's favorite. So
I do like M dashes though. I've been liking M dashes before this was a thing. And I had someone tell me, can you please not put M dashes in you're writing. And I'm like, this has been my thing for
I
like a
wrote
very
it.
Yeah, I know. I totally get what you're saying, but then I've been so conscious of not putting
well, now I
much. Yeah, unlearning that has been a challenge after
am.
AI.
Me too, because it's my like my
Yeah.
thing.
How about you, Dawn? Where does AI fit in your everyday workflow?
Similar to Stephanie and Jaclyn, I don't use it a whole lot. I'm a team of one, but the outsourcing that I do have is writers, and
Okay.
they're ones that I worked with in the past who are just excellent at what they do. And I value people who know how to write, and I just want to sort of put my money where my mouth is. And then as far as workflows, not really. Sometimes I'll put like a brain dump in, and then sort of summarize what I'm trying to solve here. Or I'll put in some GSC data and say, what patterns do you see?
Got it.
But I always end up going and redoing it anyway.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why I don't use AI.
More for the data analysis stuff, which is fine. Yeah. But now let me flip the question, right? So assume that somebody comes to you with an audit that they've run through, let's say, Claude, and it's done it in a minute, right? So
Oh yeah,
how
I've
do
done a few of
you
those this month.
counter that? I'm sure all of you have had to face such a situation, right? Saying that, hey, this is done, given me an audit in a couple of minutes, right? So why are you going to take so long? And how do you counter such a situation? In case you've encountered one.
Well, I can go first. I don't get them too much anymore, but I used to,
Okay.
and I wanted to kill myself. Sorry, that's bad to say. Sorry, no, I didn't. Because then I would just have to go line by line and go into SEMrush. That's what I use, and line by line, not accurate, not accurate. Here's the data. This is broken, not accurate. So it took me a couple hours just to combat this like fake unknowing audit.
Yeah.
Or
Refusing
even
an audit, which those hours you could have as well spent on an actual audit and given them the results.
yeah, and I work on a retainer, so I don't charge them for this, but this is eating into what else I would have done for them. And now, but I have to combat this because they're wondering, well, why aren't you doing this? Or why is our competitor ranking for this? Or what about this keyword? And I'm like, no one's searching this keyword. This is ridiculous. So yeah.
How about you, Jaclyn?
Yeah, I've gotten a few this month, and I'm like, man, it was like a wave. It was a wave of, one of them were for design too, of like, showing a draft of a homepage, and then here's what ChatGPT thinks we should change. And I'm like, well, what do you want to change? What are your edits? Like, I don't care about chat's edits. I want to hear your feedback. If that's what you're paying me to do. I have gotten more confident and better at pushing back, of being like, nah, you don't want that. That's not what you're paying me for.
But it must be easier once you've known the client for some time, right? But when you're landing new clients, then I imagine that must be tough walking that path, right? I mean, in the initial few weeks of engaging with somebody, and then they come back with, hey, this is what it is suggesting that we do. Have you been in a situation like that, Dawn?
What I hate is when I have a client tell me, and this hasn't happened in a while, but somebody reached out to me and they can get me 10,000 backlinks. Like, why are you not doing that? And I'm like, what are they even talking about? Okay. Where are they getting 10,000 backlinks? So it's stuff
LinkedIn is primarily the source of all of our miseries, right?
Sorry, what's that?
LinkedIn is primarily the source of all of our misery.
Pretty much.
How about you, Dawn? Have you ever had to counter such claims?
Not full audits, although I think if it's early on in the engagement, that actually might be a nice opportunity to build trust, because you're having to go through all of the steps very clearly and drawing the line very clearly of how you can do this work more accurately, and even though it takes a little bit more time. But I have gotten questions around the strategies or the recommendations that are being made, which I guess kind of goes back to our discussion earlier about some gender bias. I don't know if that's what it is, but I'll say, I recommend we do this, this, and this, and then they'll run it through ChatGPT and be like, well, actually, ChatGPT said that we should do this, this, and this. But I think it's the same sort of process. You're going and finding the data that backs up the decisions that you're saying that you're making, and kind of like turning the mirror on what's being presented. I feel like that's usually the best case scenario.
I also think I've had my clients I've had for years. Like, I haven't had new clients in a while. I also think when they know you, it's more like they'll send me articles, just like FYIs or something that's coming.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing. If they don't trust me, this is not a good partnership, right? Like,
Yes.
I don't know I have a CPA because I have no idea what to do, right? I don't even question my CPA.
Right.
And I should, but whatever, like, this is all I know. This is all I do. So, if you don't trust me, then why are we working together?
Like I said in the beginning, that's the problem today, right? Everybody claims they are an SEO expert. So
Everyone.
yeah, everyone, literally everyone, right? So that's the issue. I'm just going to pause and take this question from the audience. The question is, it's interesting, but it counters everything that we've said. So, do you think AI is hype or reality for entrepreneurs? Can it really help accelerate delivery and improve profitability? And you can take more clients, as the grunt work might be handled by AI tools. So, what do you think? Dawn, you want to go first?
My gut response is just no, because the times that I have tried to do more involved projects or more involved work with it, I just end up sinking so much time into correcting everything and redoing it my manual way anyway. So I haven't found a reliable way of using it for projects that are more substantial.
Okay. Stephanie?
Well, I also want to say, I was talking to someone about this. So again, I have come from a tech background. Machine learning has been around for a very long time. I worked for companies that did machine learning, where they would build out programs so that the client, they just had to, prompt it, and then it would give them what they were looking for. So I think, did those businesses go out of business or whatever? No, they didn't. So I think for me, people are just, it's this new shiny thing. It's here. I equate it to, like, remember when grocery stores got self-checkout? People were like, oh my God, we're going to lose jobs. This is amazing. I don't worry about that, because it's not a human. Like, and it's been around a long time. It's just becoming more and more and more. So no, like,
No.
if you want to and tank your rankings, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I approach it like more like just, it's a tool. It's will it make me 10% more efficient for some repeatable tasks? Sure. Is it going to replace me? No. And it's also like a different audience. Like I've gotten asked that question a lot. Like, when it comes to web design and SEO, like, do I think some AI web builder is going to come in and replace me? And I said, well, that's not my audience. Someone who's going to pay $29.99 for an AI website is not going to look to hire me anyway. They don't want the professional, credible product, right? So it's not going to put me out jobs. It's just a tool that maybe we can take advantage of as it develops. And I think we need to like kind of stay on top of it and see how it develops, and not like turn a blind eye to what's happening with it. But I think it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of like fear mongering. And I think a lot of bad actors, as Stephanie was saying, are just using it as like a buzzword. I hear it like 3 times a week. The new AI tool, the new AI this, the new, and it's not even like AI. it's just a buzzword to scare people and make people buy something.
Okay. Honestly, if I were to answer this question, I would. That's also probably because I've worked a lot on marketplaces, and when you're dealing with literally, let's say, hundreds of thousands of data points, then it does come in handy. Where for some of the tasks that is very labor intensive, especially when it comes to research or curating, let's say, across 10 different vectors for a specific category. So all of that grunt work can definitely be handled by AI. But yes, having said that, the processes that you put in place just to ensure that it is not hallucinating and you don't spend enough time to vet if that data is correct is a humongous task. So
Yeah.
once you have those guardrails in place to actually scale something, yes, it does come in handy. But where the real work is involved, wherever there is originality involved, to ensure there is no thin content, where it is humanly content written by humans for humans is the way that I would put it. Because, like Stephanie said, these are not even queries somebody is searching for, right? So in those cases, it does not help, no matter how much you employ it for keyword research or topical research. But
Yeah.
yes, for data analysis, for research, it can definitely speed up. All right, moving on. Since some of you work across different markets, I'm just curious. So, how do you maintain your quality when you work across multiple clients, markets, or time zones? Um, Jaclyn, you have extra hands, but I'm still sure that there's a
No.
lot of oversight that you do, right? But in the case of
Yeah.
Stephanie, like how do you ensure that when you're subcontracting or when you're giving it away to your partners, how do you ensure that the quality of the work that gets delivered is always the same?
I have my max amount of clients so that I make sure that they all have quality work, right? And I am constantly monitoring SEMrush
Okay.
to make sure any adjustments. I'm always even because I have this solid like base of clients, I'll maybe take on one or two or I just do a one-off audit, but I'm always coming up with new ideas. You can't just sit stagnant. Like, okay, your website's optimized, you've written the keyword or you've written the blog post, what next? Well, there's always like, what's next? Like, what is SEMrush telling me? What, and people just use ChatGPT a lot, but you got to look at Claude, Perplexity, Gemini. You got to look at, what are they asking? Like, what are in SEMrush, they have an AI SEO tool.
Right.
Where are there gaps between you and your competitors? What can we do now?
Yeah.
So for me, it's about always bringing new ideas so that I'm always helping the clients stay on top of their competitors and just SEO in general. So
Okay.
that's my process.
Do you also take on clients across time zones, anywhere outside the US as of now?
Yeah, oh yeah, like I have Canada and Europe. I don't really sleep, so I'm pretty much like whenever they need to talk to me.
Okay.
So
How
I'm
about
good
you,
with
Dawn?
Just the West Coast.
Okay.
Clients who have international websites, but the folks that I'm actually interacting with are all in the US.
That makes it interesting. How about you, Jaclyn?
Yeah, across the whole US, a couple in Canada, a couple in Australia, a lady in
Okay.
Belgium. It's like not a ton, but a few scattered. I got one for a new client whose market is in China. And so,
Okay.
I told her, I was like, I really want to dive deep into this and I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to give you bad advice. I don't want to apply the wrong strategies for a Chinese market that just doesn't even apply, especially with government oversight and like censorship laws. And I don't want someone to have a VPN even to open your site. And
True.
so
Yeah.
I was just very honest with her. I was like, we're gonna have to spend some time on this.
Yeah. 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 Interestingly, none of the LLMs are accessible from there, right? So you can't access ChatGPT, you can't access Claude. The only LLM that you can access is Perplexity. Of course,
Mhm.
apart from Manas and DeepSeek and all of the other ones. But then,
Mhm.
didn't know that.
yeah, none of the others. Um, that's interesting because then how do you deal with when the culture is different than what you are used to?
I
uh,
think I have to
Especially when
like,
it comes to language and culture, both, right? Because the reason I'm bringing in culture is because the way people query, the way people search, everything changes, right? When it is a different market than the one that you're used to.
I think for me, it's I have to turn my listening ears on and really listen to the client and listen hear from them what their audience is. I'm just a random blue-haired white lady from Seattle.
Right.
I don't have all the answers or all the solutions for everybody across the globe. So
Right.
my job is to listen and research and just, do right by them the best I can.
Okay. How do you both adapt, Stephanie and Don? How do you adapt when especially when it comes to SEO, when the language and culture are different than what it is you are used to?
I mean, so for me, I like Jaclyn, I talk to them, but also I use SEMrush because it can change locations, right?
Right.
Cities, countries. So I listen, then I tell them like, what's ranking in that country. So I haven't had too many that are out of like
Okay.
scope per se. So like I haven't had anyone in China where I have to worry about any type of censorship. So I can't really speak to that. But I can speak to change, like finding keywords and topics for other countries.
Don, have you ever had to have you ever come across a situation like this where you've had to deal with, especially with international websites because the behavior changes completely, right?
Yeah, I think there are a couple layers. There's the sort of keyword research in the actual language, and then
Right.
there's the product and the brand is perceived. Something I dealt with previously was that there was no real market fit for that product given the international culture,
Right.
and there wasn't a lot of search volume around the terms that brand would want to be involved in. So trying to figure out how to even talk about a product that isn't really internationally recognized, and not just at a brand name, but just, if there's a culture that doesn't really love mugs, how do you talk about mugs and present mugs and sell mugs to a culture that maybe doesn't even drink hot beverages?
So if we were to keep aside the language barriers, what was your biggest challenge explaining your strategy to a non-local client?
I can't think of something that was super difficult, in the sense that I always show my tools. Like I get on a Zoom call and we look at it so they can see what I'm seeing. And we'll do searches together. I don't have a very good example of that.
Malad, maybe I can take this. So one specific case that I can remember is backed by data is how I would answer this because let's say you're going after a certain set of keywords, right? For example, let's take pediatrician, right? A pediatrician is not always known. That's not the way, let's say, in another country, they call them as a kids doctor or a child doctor. I mean, this is just an example without getting into the specifics of plastic surgery or, I'm just giving a very vague example, but this is backed by my experience in the past. So, whenever we've encountered something like this, the answer lies in data. So, that's the best way to explain a strategy because, the recommendations that you're giving is because, the input to that strategy comes from research that you've already done.
Yeah, and that's why I like to share if some people are iffy about what I'm telling them. So I like to share my
Right.
screen and we can go through.
Sure. Finally, if you're starting over today, right, with the goal of building a scalable practice, what would you do differently in the first 90 days? Since you've been, Stephanie and Jaclyn, since you've been doing it for a couple of years now, so is there something that you would do differently that, Dawn, even you've been at it for now 6, 8 months?
Yeah, full time about that time.
Yeah, full time for about that time, yeah. Jaclyn,
I
would
would
you do
charge
something
more.
differently? Sorry?
I would charge more.
You charge more, okay. All right.
Pricing has always been a really hard thing for me. I feel
Okay.
bad. I want to help people out. I see like a small business struggling and I want to come in and save them. Um, and so I struggle with pricing. I tend to undercharge, especially in the beginning.
But is there room for empathy in business?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's something I always want to hold on to, and I never want to grow
Okay.
so big where I lose that, you know?
All right.
Hmm.
How about you, Stephanie?
Well, I undercharged and now I charge. So if you
You're
want
at a
me,
happy
you
place.
gotta pay. I have undercharged. I'm embarrassed to say what I used to charge.
Me
Uh,
too.
I come at a certain rate, and because I don't really need new clients, so if you want me,
Mhm.
you gotta pay.
All right. Don, how about you? Are you
Mhm.
happy where you are with how it is going, or do you think you would ever look back and say, hey, I wish I did it this way?
I think having things a little more figured out before getting a client in the door would have been good. Yeah, even setting packaging or pricing from the get-go as opposed to on the fly, I think would have let me make more strategic choices. Um, yeah, that's probably it. Just be prepared for
Okay.
the success.
Malara's got a tricky question from the audience. He says some customers can be difficult. So do you think it might be because of gender? Which I think most of you answered, but it goes back to the same thing. Do you stand by that? The reason that they are difficult is has it got to do with gender, or is it because of the lack of SEO knowledge, or is it something else entirely?
I really try not to take things too personally.
That's a good
So
one. Yeah.
even if it is, I just think there's so much we don't know about what's going on the other side of the screen, and a lot of folks have a lot of pressure, or they're being asked a lot of questions they don't have the answers to, and there are 1,000 reasons why they could be pushing back, or being perceived as difficult. So I guess leaning into the empathy and trying not to judge them too hard is that was
Okay.
a really question, but that's my POV.
Okay.
I think it's layered. It has a lot of layers to it because I see a lot of insecurity and intimidation when it comes to anything with technology, right? They don't know what they don't know. They feel insecure. They may get a little grouchy or pushy because they just don't understand what's going on.
Okay.
And then there's the layer of like, but maybe there's a little extra doubt because I'm a woman and maybe they wouldn't doubt me if I was a man. So I think it's a small factor, but there's usually like 4 or 5 things also happening.
Okay.
So I would echo all that. And
Mhm.
I would add to the fact that I've had a client say he learned from his son's friend that this is
Seriously?
what SEO is. And I'm like, oh, awesome.
He's the expert now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know how to respond to that, but then, yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
either. I'm like,
surprised.
okay.
But I'm not surprised. Yeah. Um, so there's a final question that I have for all of you. If there's one piece of advice that you could give to a woman in SEO who wants to start off on her own today, right, but doesn't know where to start, what would that be?
I think it would be just start building your community, start
Okay.
networking, start building relationships, finding mentors, finding partners. You can find partners that are whether they be like referral partners or white label partners, and you start building up those relationships like as fast as you can because they just take time, but then the payoff and the benefit is so powerful.
If there's just one non negotiable, absolutely actionable thing you would want somebody to do today in in the list of things that you just listed, what would that be?
Mm.
The high impact one.
It would just be like meeting people. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. In person.
Not necessarily, but
Okay.
yeah, just meeting people, building out your network. Mm-hmm.
Stephanie?
I'd say just go. Start posting.
Mm-hmm.
You're the expert. Go.
Okay.
I held
Okay.
back. Didn't trust
Mm-hmm.
myself. Just go.
Okay. Dawn?
I was gonna say, yeah, like trust yourself. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of an additional layer so we can give them 3 points.
And is there a moment along this journey when you know that you're ready? I mean, is there an invisible voice in the head that says you're, ready to quit and get started?
I can't have another boss. I can't work for someone.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a bad person to answer that because I did the fake it till you make it for like 3 years.
Wow. No kidding.
I didn't have a lot of skills, but if someone asked me to do something, I'd be like, yeah, you're going to give me money, I'll figure it out. But it worked. Now I know a lot of things.
Okay. Okay. Dawn, you took your time, right? Before you decided?
Yeah. No, I think it's like getting a dog or having a kid or whatever big life choice you're going to do. There really is typically there's no great moment.
Right.
Kind of like Jaclyn said, once you start falling or running or whatever direction you're moving in, just like that momentum going, and kind of like Stephanie said, once you start going, I think doors will just open, because what else are you going to do?
Right.
I want to add one thing to that really quickly, because when I was
Uh-huh.
starting Junction Jack, and I still hear it, people telling me it's a bad idea.
Really?
Don't think that. Keep going.
Okay.
I have heard that numerous times, especially from men, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that a lot, and I want to quit a lot, and I cry a lot. Stop.
Yeah. Like
That's so crazy. I can't imagine even like bringing anyone down. Like when you were first doing your intro and talking a little bit about it, I was like, yes, that sounds great. Like, awesome. Good for her. And maybe as women, we can find ways to like hype each other up and be each other's cheerleaders, because we might not always do that outside of our own community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So on that note, I'm going to give a shout out to all three of you. Should end on that high note before I wrap up the session. So that brings us pretty much to the end of the session. So all of you listening in, please give Jaclyn a follow at Jaclyn Hope Design. That's her handle. Or you can check her out work at jaclynhope.com. Okay. And Jaclyn also is generous enough to say that she's got some freebies and resources out there. So I'm going to check it out, Jaclyn, after this session. You can connect with Dawn on LinkedIn to continue the conversation after the session. And Stephanie, you don't need any introduction. Like I said, go look up Stephanie at both Mrs. SEO as well as Junction Jack. Stephanie, is there any platform, one particular platform that you're more accessible or more active on?
The easiest way to connect with me is on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. All right. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the final session. And it's been an amazing one speaking to all three of you today. Right. And like you've said and emphasized throughout the session, it's not about the systems. It's not about a specific thing. It's more about the mindset and knowing and having the courage to step outside, to start off on your own, pursue the market where you want to be. Right. And I also want to say a huge thank you to both Muller and Path for putting this series together during this month. And they've been doing this for a few years now to bring together women right across geographies. So thanks, Malara and Path, for bringing us together. And again, to the audience, both on LinkedIn and YouTube, right? very thoughtful questions that came along the way during the session. All right. Even though we are wrapping this specific series up, the conversation doesn't have to end. Please do connect with Jaclyn, Dawn, and Stephanie on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's about it. Like Jaclyn said, we've got to have each other's back, hype each other up, and support each other's growth in the SEO community. So thanks again, Jaclyn, Dawn, and Stephanie for joining today. Right, and
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you.
Lakshmi.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank
it
you.
was an absolute pleasure to have been your moderator today.